Everyone, welcome to today's Halloween makeup tutorial. This today is going to be the classic Chelsea Grin. This is perfect for Halloween just because it's gory and it's really fun to do. Please excuse me because I am recovering from the flu. So to start with this, I'm going to be using this foundation just to cover the top half of my face. I'm going to leave the bottom bit completely bare just because obviously that's the canvas we're going to be working on. Then using any dark brown shadow, just pop this into the socket of the eye and just generally build up the colour with a lot of dark browns and black colours. Don't worry about it being too neat because obviously, you know, you've got a Chelsea Grin on your face. You're not going to be too bothered with the whole blending process of the eye makeup. Start the process of the Chelsea Grin, I'm using this liquid latex which I purchased from Hobbycraft, and I'm also using some tissue paper as well. So what you want to do is kind of determine how big you want the wound. So for this I want it relatively chunky, if that makes sense. So what I'm going to do is apply one thin layer of liquid latex with a foundation brush that I will never be using again, and quite honestly I don't think that guy is going to come up clean at all. Then pop over some tissue paper and then seal that down with another layer of liquid latex. Then again repeat this process for either 2 or 3 times, enough so that you have quite a big area to work on. Though we didn't blend the eyes, we are going to focus a lot on the blending of the liquid latex. So when I first tried this out, I found that the outlines were way too chunky, but that was because the edges of the liquid latex were just sitting there, just chilling. So with that foundation brush, just blend it down almost so that it's a very thin layer, and it should sit seamlessly with the layer of your skin. And if you notice, when this is actually finished, on the outer edges of the Chelsea Grin, you'll know that it's quite chunky, but that doesn't matter because I had my hair down anyway. Of course, not only did I want to, you know, play around with this a bit more because I was having so much fun, but I also wanted to create some sort of wound on the top of our head, just so that it kind of seems like we hit our head when somebody gave us a Chelsea Grin, I suppose. With this, instead of using thin, long strips of tissue paper, you're going to want to take them into small, rounded segments and just repeat this process for maybe two layers. Too sure how long this took to dry, but you will know when it's dried because you feel like you have a really thick face mask on. So here I'm using some tweezers just to pull apart the liquid latex because when it dries it's very hard, and for me personally this was the best way to, you know, really get into that area. So just pull that apart very gradually, and don't really take your time with this because if you ruin it, it will completely ruin the whole look. And once you're finished, just layer over some foundation as well, and also repeat this for the wound on our head. The reason I used liquid latex for this look was, as you can see, it's very elastic and it almost creates another layer of skin. So then, of course, we want this to look as realistic as possible, so I'm using a pink lipstick here just to kind of use this as our base colour so that it almost looks like a real fresh wound. And I'm using lipsticks just because they work the same way as face paint. and for me personally these were only £1 each, so it was a much cheaper alternative to using face paints. So then build up that red pigment using a red lipstick and also the pink lipstick as well. Then you want to feather the colour through the actual liquid latex itself, just so that it looks a bit more realistic and a bit more spread out. Another key point to focus on when colouring in this look, as you can see, I'm colouring the edges of the actual wound red, almost like it's holding that pool of blood that will be on the wound. Then taking this dark brown colour, I'm just starting to map out the shadows on our face. I kind of got this a bit confused actually, and I just ended up dipping it everywhere, but I'm sure you guys are going to be a lot better at this than I am. Then to set the lipstick and also just give us a bit more of a red pigment on the actual wound, I'm using some red eyeshadow, and most of the shadows I am using apart from the darker colours are from the BH Cosmetics Eyes on the 60s palette. Probably see that there are some purple bits of colour to this wound. I added a bit of purple with the red just because it gives that bruised effect. Now this is a red tinted lip gloss from number 7, and can we just talk about how much this really brings out the wound? It's such a great alternative to, you know, using some fake blood, but this just gives that layer of, you know, thin blood on that raw and fresh skin. And you guys are probably thinking, what the hell is that in that muffin case? This is some homemade blood, and I will be putting this recipe on my blog. It's so easy, and it's again so much cheaper than buying some blood at any craft store. So this again will be on my blog, but I am just dotting the blood and almost I don't know, like kind of just dribbling it down. That come out wrong. And here I'm placing the blood so that I was hit head on, if that makes any sense. I am very confused today. So that is what it should look like so far. And for the finishing touches, of course, every person needs to contour when they're doing a Halloween makeup look, but this is just going to make our face look a bit more eerie and a bit more edgy. And then afterwards I'm just stippling on some brown powder so that we look kind of dirty, and I'm literally just using a washing up sponge which is cut in half, and this again is a really great way to keep these Halloween looks on a budget. That is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this. I had so much fun creating it, and I obviously know that I am not a professional, so please take that into consideration. But please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget about the glam Halloween alternative look to this one, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye!